quick intros from the speakers, move into the presentation, and then we'll open it up audience for Q&A. If you're sitting and listening, please make sure to mute your mic so that there are no noise distractions in the background. And then also, we are recording the session, and we'll send everyone an email with the recording after the event. We want to keep it pretty educational, so if any questions pop up during the presentations, feel free to throw them in the chat, and then we can look back at them during the end of the day. And so I guess with that, we can start and jump into some quick introductions. So would love for each of the speakers to tell us a little bit about how long they've been doing it for, and where we're calling in from. And we'll start with Rebecca Smell.
Yeah, I have been with Smart Sites for about 2 years now. I've been in the social media space for a little bit over 6. My background is English literature and creative writing, and I am calling in from Colorado.
Hi everyone, Anka here. I'm here on behalf of Social. I'm calling in from Romania, from Transylvania, and I am a social media strategist. I've been guiding people on how they can make the most out of their social media strategy with Social Bee for about 7 years now, and doing social media marketing for about 12. So that's my background. That's what qualifies me to be here today. Looking forward to sharing my knowledge with you all.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to hear the presentation. So with that, I will just hand things back off to Rebecca to get us started.
Okay, so just to start it off, what can social media do for your business? That's kind of the question. That's why you guys are here. So the big takeaways when it comes to social media is brand awareness, reputation, promotions, customer service, and supporting online searches. So what does that all mean? Brand awareness, that's obvious. You're bringing your brand to the internet for people to see you. Reputation, how people perceive you online. New inventory promotions, that one's very self-explanatory. You can use social media to leverage, when a new product is released, when an event is going on, when you're running specials, all that good stuff. Customer service allows you to be able to interact with your audience, with your customers right there on the social media platform and get that personalized experience. And then everything you do on social media does actually play into your website and SEO ranking. So social media is just another avenue that supports you on Google and your business online. Okay. And then these are just some fun statistics that I wanted to pull and share with everyone. So 74% of shoppers research on social media before making a purchase. 96% of small businesses leverage social media in their marketing strategy. 71% of consumers who have had a good social media experience with a brand are likely to recommend it to others. 55% of consumers first discover new businesses on social media. I know I'm a big one on that side. 96% of marketers say that they've increased exposure through social media efforts. And lastly, 68% of consumers say that social media allows them to interact with the businesses on a deeper level. Audiences and customers love to feel that a humanized touch with brands that they get from social media. All right. So social media really is the modern word of mouth. So, back in the day, you got a recommendation from a neighbor or a friend or a family member, like, hey, just let's go this place, let's go check it out. Now that happens online, and that happens on a global scale. So being able to utilize social media is being able to turn that modern word of mouth into reach and amplification. So now it's not just, hey, there's this cool coffee shop in our town. Now it's, hey, everyone come to our town to check out this cool coffee shop. And then because you have that word of mouth, you bring that influence and trust. So recommendations and endorsements from your friends and family and influencers on social media carry that same weight that it used to carry when you had that word of mouth back in the day. And then that credibility just encourages and increases your interactions with social media and your customers. And then engagement and interaction is kind of self-explanatory, but being able to directly engage with your audience and fostering those relationships and building brand loyalty through personalized interactions goes so much further in today's modern world than it does with everybody online and everybody just kind of feeling like they're just there. Being able to make those connections means a big difference when it comes to a business. Okay. And then these are some social media trends that have kind of been occurring throughout 2024. So the rise of short-term video content continues. Short-term video is the most the best way to get engagement on social media. It is still being on the forefront. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels are leading the way, but now even platforms like Snapchat have entered the game when it comes to short-term videos. I personally, for the longest time, didn't even know Snapchat was still around, but it is making a comeback. And with that potential ban for TikTok in the US, that means that one of these other players might enter the game and take the leading charge on that. Whether that's Instagram, Facebook stories, YouTube shorts, Snapchat, whatever it might be, short-term video is still going to continue to play an important role in the future, regardless of what happens with TikTok. And then social commerce has been increasingly integrated into platforms, allowing users to shop directly from their favorite social media apps. So if you haven't noticed, almost every platform has some version of a store online where, Facebook shop, Instagram shop, TikTok shop, almost all of them have them now. And being able to integrate those shops on your platforms and allowing your audiences to buy directly from the platform is just going to continue to build your brand's reputation online. And then, make sure that you're utilizing those to their full potential. You can link direct products in stories and posts, and you can do so much more with your Instagram shop than just, hey, here's my shop, come by. And then personalizing and tailored content becomes even more important as the algorithms continue to evolve to prioritize user performances. So the robots do what the robots do, and while you continue to take a more personalized and human approach with your brand, that's going to help you stand out through other competitors and stand out to the robots, bringing you to a larger audience. All right, and then so the growth of niche communities and micro-influencers. So, there's influencers all over the space. Everyone hears about influencers. Brands love to work with influencers, but you don't always necessarily need to work with these top-tier influencers that have millions of followers. Micro-influencers can have a big impact on niche markets, especially, and it doesn't always have to be a product either. You can also have influencers work with you on services as well. So there's a lot that can be done with influencer marketing, and it continues to be a trend that's going to continue to grow on the social media side of things. And then touched on this a little bit earlier, but social media and SEO, they're linked together nowadays. So the keywords that you put on your social media profile plays directly into your website. So when you think about like those detailed about you sections on Facebook or LinkedIn and stuff like that, you want to make sure that those keywords match what the keywords are on your website, because that's just going to continue to fill it. You also want to make sure that your profiles are fully optimized and you have links to your website and links to your other social media profiles, because all that does is help feed backlinks to your website as well. And that's just going to continue to increase your ranking on Google. And then the last trend is kind of how we started off with, memes. Humor is the key role in playing and growing your business. When you think about whether or not a post that's just a post about your product, that's very, very unlikely that that's ever going to go viral. But if you take a trend that's going around that's really popular, and you take something else that's going around viral, and you incorporate that into your brand in some way, then you have an opportunity to create an audience to see that humor. They see it, they laugh, they want to see what your brand's about, they see what you're selling, they stick around. So people come for the memes, but stay for the product. Okay. And these are just some examples here of some kind of memes where you can incorporate it into your business. This is one that we've done for one of our clients here on the left with the Deadpool meme. So they sell filament for 3D printing, and the Deadpool and Wolverine movie just came out not that long ago. That's really popular online, especially the Deadpool dancing to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. So we use the way to incorporate that into the meme for them to grow their business. So in this case, Deadpool's dancing all excitedly because the wife says that you can buy more filament. So just using those ways in order to connect them to your brand. And then the one on the right is for a legal firm that helps them with people, scrubbing their records. So, hey, I can do whatever I want and you'll scrub it off my record, right? Oh, yes, but no. So little things like that can go a long way with creating a humorous situation, bringing people in and making people laugh. And then when you make people laugh, they're going to want to stay. All right, and then these are just some best practices when it comes to each platform specifically. So for Facebook, for example, you want to focus on creating engaging content, but you really want to make sure that you're utilizing Facebook groups and not just posting content. Facebook groups allows you to promote yourself as an expert in your field. You also want to make sure that you're leveraging Facebook ads for targeting audiences. Instead of the traditional way where, you see a post and you see where it says boost in the corner, you can do that, but it's actually so much better to use Facebook's ads manager and to basically create the boost like a mini ad, because that allows you to use custom audiences and lookalike audiences and more detailed targeting, which is just going to be able to promote that out to a wider audience. And ideally, you want to post 2 to 5 times per week. So for Instagram, you want to make sure that you're emphasizing your visually appealing content, since it is very a visual platform. You want to use hashtags strategically. About 3 to 5 per platform or per post is ideal. You want to make sure you're engaging with your followers through stories and comments, and you want to make sure you're utilizing reels and carousels. So reels are the best, then next carousels, then static posts. And then when it comes to Instagram, on your timeline, on your grid feed, you want to post 2 to 4 times per week. But for stories, you actually want to post 1 to 3 stories per day. And the stories allow you to really kind of have that lighthearted and humanized brand that you can touch on, and lets you connect with your audience on a much more relaxed level. Twitter, keep tweets short and concise and relevant, engage in conversations using trending hashtags, and utilize Twitter lists for organizations. Twitter, you actually want to tweet 3 to 5 times per day if you want Twitter to be a platform that you really want your brand to grow on and you want people to engage on. It's with the controversies of Elon Musk and stuff, some brands, people love it, some people don't, but it's really one that you have to put a lot of work in if you want to see your brand growing on Twitter. LinkedIn is kind of similar to Facebook. You want to share industry insights and thought leadership content. You want to connect with professionals in your field. And like Facebook, you want to participate in those LinkedIn groups so that you can show your knowledge, expertise, and post 2 to 5 times per week. Then lastly, on TikTok, you want to create engaging, authentic short-form videos. This is where you really want to pay attention to participating in those trends and those viral videos and engaging with the TikTok community. And similar to stories, you want to post 1 to 3 videos per day on TikTok.
Awesome. Yeah. And just want to chime in here. Yeah. If you didn't already, definitely take a screenshot of this slide. We'll also be sharing this, but I think this slide is like so helpful. And on the story note, yeah, I feel like these days, like stories are almost like becoming more popular than posts. Like I get a lot more engagement and a lot more eyes on my stories than sometimes my posts, which, don't really see a lot of engagement. So definitely don't underestimate the power of stories, and you can really make it interactive too with like quizzes and polls and stuff.
Exactly. Stories really allow you to bring that extra level of connectivity, especially with being able to do the polls and the quizzes, because it encourages more of that interaction and engagement side of things.
And if you're struggling with reaching people on stories, what I've noticed that works really, really, really well is to use those add yours stickers. So if you're finding some stickers from other users that have generated a lot more users, creating stories with those stickers, use them. They will boost your engagement like magic.
All right, so that was kind of a lot. So if you feel overwhelmed, Smart Sites can help. So at Smart Sites, our social media team, we can help you by developing and implementing comprehensive social media strategies tailored to your specific business goals and targeted audiences. We create engaging content across various platforms, including captions, graphics, and videos. The caveat with the videos, though, is we can help you with creating some stuff and giving you like shot list ideas, but as far as like legitimate footage that you would wanting to present like of your products and stuff, you send those to us, then we edit them, then we make them look nice, then we put them online. But the raw footage would need to come from you in those environments. We also monitor social media channels for mentions, comments, and messages, ensuring timely responses and customer engagement. And we also work on outbounding engagement to further increase that brand awareness. So that's talking about like talking in those Facebook groups and those LinkedIn groups and interacting with people on your timelines. Utilizing platform boosts to promote features to further reach new audiences without having to fully delve into paid social. Analyze social media metrics and data to track performance, identifying trends, optimizing strategies for better results. And then we stay up to date on all the latest social media trends and best practices so that we can always make sure that we are refining and adapting strategies for maximum impact. Right. And then so we offer 3 different tiers when it comes to social media management. Each package comes with either 8, 16, or 24 custom posts per month, a set boosting budget that's worked into the pricing, engagement hours, management of up to 4 platforms, profile optimizations, competitor research, performance and analytics, and additional add-ons are available, and all of these packages are customizable. And then I'm going to turn it over to Anka, and she's going to talk about trends coming up for 2025.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. That was so much insight. I loved it. Awesome. So if you've joined us later, my name is Anka. I'm a social media strategist here at SocialBee. And for the past 7 years, I've been helping people and businesses make the most out of their social media journey. If you don't know SocialBee, we're a social media scheduling tool meant to help you with everything social media related, from creating your content, scheduling it, managing your socials, and utilizing your analytics to the max, but we'll talk about later. So for now, we want to talk about what's next for 2025. And you might think that August is a little bit too early to do that, but you know what? Blink and you miss it. In a few hours, it might just as well be Christmas, and then it's 2025, and we're here with the Happy New Year. Here's what's going to happen in 2025. So I've picked around 8 trends that I think will either grow bigger or start seeing momentum in 2025. And we're going to talk about each of them in particular in the next few slides. So I keep looking to the right just to make sure that I see I moved you guys to the right, essentially. So the first trend that I want to talk about is the rise of niche social media networks. Right now, we're seeing a lot of general momentum on social media. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok have all the industries all in one, crammed into one social media platform. But we're seeing an increase in the number of niche-specific social media industries. And I think this trend will continue to grow in the following year, making sure that it provides users who seek control over their data, who seek a sense of community. It will provide them with tailored solutions for their specific interests and their demographics, and it will help attract more users. And so this might actually have 3 particular points in here. So if you think about user control, if you think about privacy, if you think about how easy it is to select the demographics in each industry, it's something that, you know, it will be very easy to solve with industry-specific social media platforms. And as an example, you can look at Cara, which is a social media platform and portfolio that's meant for artists. And it's founded to protect human artists against any rapidly growing AI art that has been garnering momentum on social media platforms that are generically used, platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and so on. So Cara is a platform that will protect information or data for human artists and their art. As a prediction, I think that instead of one size fits all platform, we're going to see a lot more smaller targeted networks that will gain traction in 2025. And platforms like Twitter, like Facebook, might actually lose ground to these specialized networks. So that's my first trend of 2025 prediction. We're going on into the second one, which is using social media. Accidentally muted myself. Using social media as a search engine. And Rebecca actually mentioned a little bit on this topic in her presentation. But essentially, social media is no longer about just connecting with your friends or following brands online, and that's it. Social media right now, with platforms like Instagram, like TikTok, like YouTube, like Pinterest, are becoming increasingly large and powerful search engines. So if you think about your content and what you're looking for, how often do you Google stuff on Google versus how often do you look for a tutorial on how to do something on YouTube, on TikTok, and learn more about a specific topic from these social platforms? And the answer is quite a lot, and it's increasing with every user that starts working on these social media platforms. So they are turning into powerful search engines, with users turning to them for recommendations on any type of industry, whether we're talking lifestyle, skincare, restaurants, how to do construction, whatever it is, you'll find it on a social media platform. So to make sure that you take advantage of this, nope, not yet. Can you move the slide back? There we go. So to make sure that you take advantage of this, make sure that you optimize your captions for social media for SEO, making sure that you include any keywords, any hashtags, geolocation to increase your visibility. But also make sure you collaborate with influencers to leverage their SEO techniques and make sure that your brand appears in searches that are related to your industry and to people who are going to be interested in your product or service. Now we can move on to the third one. So the third one is actually quite connected to the second one, and it's about the decline of intrusive advertising. And this is something that we're already witnessing. Pop-ups are increasingly annoying. When your YouTube video stops because of a commercial, it is super intrusive, and nobody likes that. So by 2025, we expect a major shift when it comes to moving away from intrusive advertising and moving towards more native advertising approaches. So this blends ads into the content that the user already engages with. You see product placements, you see user-generated content, you see influencer marketing that is gaining momentum still, and then you also see value-added momentum, value-added content. Sorry, it's 8 p.m. here, so my brain is a little mumble-jumbled. Anyway, so yeah, the bottom line on this trend is to focus on creating content that provides value for your audience, whether you want to do so through providing information, entertaining your audience, or providing a solution to their problem. The fourth trend is about how social media strategies work best when they are social, because that's it. That's what's at the core of social media, being social. The essence of social media is to interact with users, to create a community, to have that sense of belonging to a community in there. So successful strategies focus on fostering these genuine connections. And you can do so by engaging actively with users on your social media. Make sure you comment on the posts that are added, respond to comments, respond to mentions, and do so genuinely. Do not just say thanks or nice or just include an emoji. Actively participate and create a conversation that is relevant to your brand. The second thing you can do here is to utilize channels like direct messaging and community building to grow your network a lot more and turn your users into brand advocates further on. And since we're talking shifts, the fifth trend that I want to predict is the shift from viral content into content that's not necessarily viral. So right now, everyone is chasing virality, right? I want to go viral. I want the majority of my audience to see, the majority of the world to see my content. That's what we see in social media marketing so far. However, the emphasis seems to be shifting towards building more meaningful engagement and reaching a more targeted audience. And you can do that by focusing your content on quality over quantity. So rather than aiming for viral success, concentrate your efforts on creating content that resonates with your core audience. And then once you do that, engage with that audience, which is what I said in the previous trend. Foster these deeper interactions with your audience to build that long-term relationship and brand loyalty. And also do not forget to include and monitor key metrics that would work towards your goals. In this case, we're talking about engagement goals. So engagement metrics like comments, shares, saves even, are more meaningful than just likes or views in this case. We're going towards the sixth trend, which is social media as a use case for customer service. And yes, this is something that is being utilized by some brands already, but it is becoming an essential tool for customer success and providing opportunities to engage with your customers directly and resolve issues a lot faster. So these will help with making sure that you can provide an immediate response with platforms like Facebook or Instagram. Providing chat support to your customers becomes a lot easier. And so quick responses enhance satisfaction and loyalty from your customers over to your brand. It also helps with making sure that you have that transparency, that commitment to your service with public responses, public engagement to your customers' concerns, whether it's on your page or outside of your page on posts that they tag you in. And if we're talking about posts that are outside of your page and they don't tag you in it, making sure that you monitor your brand consistently will help with creating proactive engagement, in the sense that you can catch problems before they are being signaled to you. So this is something that will actually grow as a use case in the future. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is that while viral content might still have its place, the real goal should be to build your connections, to build long-lasting connections with a targeted audience that's helpful for you. We only have 2 more trends to go. 7th trend is the rise of de-influencing. If you're not familiar with the term, de-influencing is a trend where social media influencers or users in general actively discourage the use of specific products or services or purchasing these because they are either overhyped, not having honest reviews, not having the realness that everyone craves. So right now, we're seeing an uprise in users that are sharing honest reviews, that are calling out overhyped products. And as a company, you should be able to build relationships with influencers who align your values and prioritize sharing honest reviews with people who would actually believe in your product in order to de-influence the hype around it somehow. So if that doesn't make sense, essentially what I'm trying to say is that this trend highlights the importance of building your genuine relationships with the people who are recommending your products, your services, making sure that they align with your brand values. In turn, what this will happen is that it will help them promote your product honestly and not miscellaneously. Okay, so 8th and final trend that I have here is to integrate multiple marketing channels. And this is actually something that, it's already happening. You are probably present on multiple platforms. You're using multiple channels, but it's, again, only going to grow moving forward. So we're looking at things like developing marketing campaigns that span across multiple channels in different ways. So not just sharing the same thing on multiple channels. You'll have social media content complementing email marketing, complementing any other efforts that you might have to create kind of like an ecosystem. You'll also see social media links included in newsletters or websites or offline materials even. So as an example to this, imagine, instead of directing users to an article, engage with them through interactive conversation and content to kind of get that engagement that I've been talking about. So all of these 8 trends are a good starting point for next year's strategy, but you would have to keep in mind that social media management is a battle that is taking place on multiple fields. And the three fields that I wanted to highlight are content, community, and data. Creating content that's high quality, that's engaging, that's relevant to your audience will help win the first battle. Building a community and nurturing that community around your brand will build the second battle. And then using data, analytics, and everything to measure performance, to keep track of what you're doing, to understand your audience better, and to improve your strategy moving forward is the third battle that you will need to win. And you can do all three of these with a platform like SocialBee. And this is a classic workflow in SocialBee. I would love to take you through the entire platform, but it takes quite a little time. So instead, I've just highlighted the main points of a workflow that you would have in SocialBee. You would start with connecting all of your social profiles so that you can do all of your work in one place. Then you would move on into creating your strategy. You can include content categories that will then become your content pillars. You'll then create a schedule for those categories, making sure that you have a weekly pattern. So every day you can send a Motivation Monday post. Every Tuesday you can send a promotional post. Every Wednesday a blog post, and so on and so forth. You'll then be able to add content into those categories and spread it around different platforms that you might be using, or creating different messages for each platform. You have several tools at your disposal within SocialBee to do so. And then you also have the ability to engage with your comments, with mentions and DMs across different channels that you might be using directly in SocialBee, so that you effectively do all of your work in one place. And at the end of the day, you will be able to track analytics and export all of your data so that you can make sure that you have the full vision for your strategy to improve moving forward. So that's about it from me. We have a special offer. If you're interested in SocialBee, you can open up a 14-day free trial by just going to app.socialbee.com. And after that, if you decide to move forward with SocialBee, if you find that it's a good match, you can take advantage of this 50% deal for the first 3 months of your plan, regardless of the plan that you choose. So just save that code, screenshot it, and be happy to use SocialBee. And if you have any questions about SocialBee or anything in particular, you can always reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to help with anything.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anka and Rebecca. That was a great presentation. All right, so now time for my favorite part. I didn't see any questions in the comments yet, but would love to open it up to the audience for any social media related questions. So if you can, please raise your hand or throw something in the chat, or just unmute yourself and start asking questions. And I'll give everybody a second. And if we don't have any questions, I actually have a couple of backup questions that people submitted when they registered for the event. So I want to give the audience kind of like the first priority, but if there's not too many questions, then we can jump into these backup questions.
Okay, Cassandra, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
This is me with my hand. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, good morning to everyone. Will this presentation be available later that we can go back and review it at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. I will be sending out a follow-up email with the recording and then a copy of the deck. So
Awesome, awesome. Now, as I guess her name is Anka Pop, is that the way you do it? Is that the way you say it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You were talking about you were going down social media. No, we didn't do it on the chat thing, but we caught on a little late for some reason. I had no way. The sign in thing just popped up after we was calling the whole universe. Say, how do we sign in? How do we sign in? We finally came on, and somebody sent us a link to the email, but we missed the first the other lady, I forgot her name, but that doesn't matter at this point. So I just started writing in my spiral notebook. So we talked about TikTok for social media platforms. Okay. Now, what do you know about social media remaining in the U.S. as a social media platform? I guess I didn't say that correctly, but you get my message.
So we're talking about TikTok remaining in the US.
Yes.
What
do you know about that? Any background on that as to whether it's going to go away in the sunset, or is it going to stay on board and be, we hear things in political areas, so we don't know. I don't know. I'm just asking. If you don't have it, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
I only have my opinion. I'm not in the US. I'm in Europe, so it literally is just an opinion. But I think that it won't go away. Personally, I think that it's just a way for them to reach some kind of a consensus, but it won't go away for sure. Rebecca, I think you have something to say.
Yeah, I'll just chime in there on the TikTok side of things. It is basically at this point just our personal opinions on it, because we do follow pretty closely. There are several different lawsuits trying to fight the ban to try to get it to stay. And then there is the option that they just sell the company and then it stays in the US regardless. I'm pretty confident in saying that it's probably going to stay. Either they're going to just bend over and sell it like they want to, or they're going to win one of their lawsuits. It's very unlikely that TikTok will go away, but if it does, one of the other platforms that really promote short form video are just going to take its spot as the leading platform. And that honestly probably would be Instagram Reels. They're like the second running up when it comes to short form video. So they will be the ones probably spearheading the charge if TikTok does actually get banned. But pretty confident in saying it's probably not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
Okay, not to bring politics into this, but one of the politicians, as we know, we're getting down to that wire now, is saying that they want to use it, and I ain't gonna call no particular political party, because that's not part of what we're talking about. But one of them said that they want to keep it around as a bargaining tool with the country in which it came out of. So I'm gonna leave that alone at this point. But based on what you're saying and based on what they're saying, it's going to stick around, or they want it to stick around because they want to make it, they want to buy it or whatever they want to do. But let's see if there's any other question I have while I'm on the floor. We said being social works by being social. So are you saying that we should push our advertisements or our business or our company? We should be social with our socialites. Okay, the people that we socialize with, we should talk to them or put this in their face.
Yes, you should definitely have conversations with your audience on social media. Depending on the industry that you're in, that might be one platform or another. But be aware of where your audience is present and when, and then try to actively start and engage in conversations that are meaningful to them. So if, let me think about an example. If I am the one selling this water bottle, what I would do is I would engage with people on the benefits of drinking more water, on why you should stay hydrated, on how you can effectively start the habit of drinking more water and things like that, and try to make a conversation to either find a solution. Why are you not drinking water? What's wrong? You're not drinking water because you don't have it on hand, because you don't I don't know, you don't want to go to the fridge and get the water. Well, guess what? Having a bottle like mine, which keeps your water cold, will help. So essentially, I'm providing a solution without pushing the product into your face. And that way, it will stay top of mind for when they're ready for the solution.
Okay, picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm going to stop there and let somebody else talk, because you've answered basic questions I needed right now. Somebody else had the hand up. I'm gonna let you go to them, and let me stand down for a minute.
Yeah, I think Kevin Armstrong had their hand up.
Hi there. Thanks for taking the question. I'm building out a communications team and doing the social media myself right now. We were looking at bringing in a social media coordinator, but I'm also open to agencies. What's your guys' thoughts on having in-house as opposed to agencies? And some agencies I've worked with in the past just kind of tell you what to do, and then you've got to still find the manpower to actually do it. So can you kind of give me some information on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all kind of depends on what your goals for social media are. There's pros and cons to both agency versus in-house. In-house obviously allows you to have the ability to have someone right then and there handling everything for you, but that also means you have to hire that person and you have to do all that legwork. Agencies allow you to be able to take all that off your plate. Here with Smart Sites, we do it a little bit more of a collaborative situation, and we do also offer as a consulting service as well. But we do more of a collaborative thing where we work together. We come up with a strategy with you. We do all of our back end work where we figure out what's the best for you. Then we talk to you about it. We discuss all the content that we create. We run by you to make sure that you like it and what we're doing. We make sure that all the engagement follows your brand's voice, your brand's tone. So we really represent your brand as a whole. But we make sure we try to take off as much as your plate as possible, unless you're one of those clients that prefers to be very hands-on, in which case then we allow you to be as hands-on as you want. It's really just kind of, you can pass it to us and we take care of all of it and you don't have to do a thing, or we can meet in the middle, or you want to be just like everything. We are very collaborative in that aspect, but we try to make sure that it is as least intensive on the client as possible. And when it comes to aspects of things that we still might need from you, for example, I mentioned in the slide about like video, for example, if there were specific video that we want to be able to promote on social media about a new product, or if you wanted a viral trend that would be good for your brand, then we communicate with you and be like, hey, could you shoot X, Y, and Z for us? Here's an idea of a video you can do. So we also collaboratively give you the video ideas as well. So you're not just like trying to figure it out in the dark what kind of video you want to make.
On Social Bee side, I agree, first of all, with what Rebecca said. It's very important to be mindful of what works for you. But my personal opinion, and from what I've seen with clients that we have at Social Bee, is that you need to have a little bit of both. So even if you're going to work with an agency, someone will be probably needing to coordinate a little bit on the internal efforts for the video that Rebecca mentioned, for the resources that there might be needed. So I genuinely think that you should do a mix of both.
How about answering questions that are more technical or more to the brand? How do agencies deal with that when there could be things coming up that they don't know? Or is that more you should be looking at a community manager as opposed to a coordinator when working with an agency?
Yeah, so on the Smart Site side of things, what we do in those scenarios, when we set up our initial process and onboarding process, we go over like, how do you want us to handle questions? And if it's something very technical that we don't feel comfortable answering on our own, then we let you know about it and we give you the option to like, hey, I'll handle it, or hey, tell them this. A lot of times, especially like when it comes to like the negative spaces and negative comments, we will utilize kind of like blanket responses that are to the public and be like, hey, we're sorry to hear about this. Please contact whatever information you want to give us ahead of time as there who for them to have contacts that's directed off of social media and handled you directly. I have had clients in the past kind of give me like a cheat sheet guide on some of the more technical side of things where they're like, hey, this is like the most common technical questions we get asked. You can reference this when you need to answer those questions. So it really kind of just comes down to what the individual client prefers. We have had clients that, hey, use this cheat sheet, good, or clients go, hey, just tell them to contact us here, or clients that just tell us, hey, I'll handle it. Thanks for letting me know that the message was there.
Great. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Any other questions from the audience? I know we have a few more minutes left, and there were a couple of good questions submitted that I can ask really quick if we don't have any other from the audience. But someone asked, if you had to choose one social media platform, which one would you choose? And I think that's really interesting just because there's so many, and I feel like everybody's posting like the same post across platforms just to kind of cast a wider net. But I wonder, from your standpoint, what's like your favorite platform, Rebecca?
Yeah. Personally, my preferred platform is kind of a tie between Instagram and TikTok. But it really kind of comes down to the brand and what the brand's ideal audience is. For example, if your ideal audience is a little bit of an older crowd, your TikTok's not going to be the ideal platform for you. That's a much younger crowd. So I would suggest, if you're going to focus on one platform, which platform matches your most ideal audience? And that's where you want to put the majority of your focus on. For me, that's personally that's Instagram and TikTok, because I really like to add that aspect of that humor, which you can utilize on both those platforms, either through reels or stories or just TikTok videos in general.
Yeah, I think Instagram would be a very good choice. For me, though, it is TikTok for sure, because it's a lot more authentic these days than it is Instagram. Instagram is very curated. You have to put a lot of thought into it. And when I'm posting, I'd rather just go with the flow. So for me, it's definitely TikTok.
Yeah. Awesome. And then what would you guys tell somebody that's just starting out in social media? Like what should they focus on?
Yeah, I would say if you're just starting out on social media, the one thing that you want to focus on is who you are as a brand. Brand awareness is really going to be the big takeaway. You don't want to necessarily be product heavy and pushing products right off the bat. You want to be making content about who you are, why you're different from competitors, what type of community involvement you might do, and making posts that encourage engagement of some kind. An 80-20 rule is a pretty good rule of thumb, where 80% of your posts are related to engagement, community involvement, follower, audience interactions, fun stuff, thought leadership, all that good stuff. And 20% or less of your posts are actually geared towards your product or service that you're trying to sell. Because there is a really big issue with post fatigue, and audiences kind of getting tired of seeing like, here's a product, here's a product, here's a product, here's a product. They really like to see the brands kind of communicating with them in a way that they can relate to. So that's where that 80% of community engagement comes in its place.
Yeah, I agree. So first, just as Rebecca said, get clear on your brand identity and what you want to do on social media. And then also make sure that you know that you have clarity on who you want to do it for. So who's your target audience? What platforms do they tend to typically spend their time on, so that you don't go to LinkedIn if your audience is on Instagram and TikTok instead, because that will not be an effective strategy. So as a starting point, I would say just make sure that you know more about your audience's habits, so that you can then cater to those habits and to those needs.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, great. Well, we wrap things up a little bit early. So I am going, if there's no other questions, I'm just going to wrap things up.
There's a couple in the chat.
Oh, there are? Okay, cool. Let's
Yes.
see. Let's get to this. Sorry, my computer's a little laggy right now. So,
It was from the Lewises. What about Twitter as a social platform?
It really depends. So brands statistically don't do amazing on Twitter unless their focus is to be like Wendy's, for example, where they're always making like the sassy little tweets and everything to other companies and brands and people and stuff. Unless you are dedicated to spend a lot of time on Twitter trying to be that sassy person like Wendy's, and there's a couple other brands that do it too. Twitter just moves so fast, and it's so much like fast, quick information sharing that brands tend to get lost in the feeds. So it doesn't hurt to put yourself out there, but unless you are really dedicated to wanting to be, like that, when the Wendy's and the humor, don't put too much time in it. I always kind of advise when it comes to Twitter, especially because there's controversies around it, just like there is controversies around TikTok. But I always advise around if you're going to make the post anyway, it doesn't hurt to throw it up on Twitter and cast that out and see what you might get from it, because you might get something if you're going to make that post anyway. But unless you are truly dedicated to trying to be that person on Twitter and you're going to dedicate hours into the engagement side of things, it's not a super benefit avenue for brands.
Yeah, I think on Twitter, you have to be very opinionated, and that's how you stand out. When you have a lot of opinions, when you are able to push maybe thought leadership out, that's when you stand out on Twitter. Otherwise, not as much.
You would agree that Twitter, there's not a lot of capacity to say a lot of things. Would you agree to that? You can do a tweet, but that's it.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. Okay, we're done.
Cool.
Here.
And then I see that one other question from B. What can you advise as a social media marketing strategy for property management companies? We've already tried using Meta Facebook ads, which have been effective for brand awareness, but it hasn't led to significant conversions.
Yeah, that one can be really tricky. When it comes to social media, conversions is kind of a little bit of a hard topic to explain, because conversions and social media don't 100% correlate. When you think of like the sales process, if you think about it like as a funnel, social media is like that biggest portion of the funnel. You're getting people's eyes on it, getting people's eyes on your brand, but that's not what leads to the conversion. What leads to the conversion is that tiny little part at the bottom of the funnel. But when it comes to property management companies and the kind of content that you could put out on social media, I would really focus on community aspects of things. And I would really focus on how to get people encouraged about like your property versus other properties. I know at a previous agency that I used to work for, I used to do some social media for some property management companies, and a lot of stuff that we would put, we would make posts about just like general like spring cleaning tips or like summer barbecue ideas, or just like, you know, packing solutions, storage solutions, just anything that can kind of be in the space of like home and realm of that area, just to kind of further get an engagement on side of things. But when it comes to social media, it's hard to think of it not necessarily in the terms of conversions, because that's really what people want to see. They want to see that ROI, but it is really the top of the funnel. And it's just to get your brand out there and then further driving people down to that funnel, down to that conversion.
I think it's also about the content that you create, because sure, it is first and foremost about brand awareness and getting the attention of that audience, but then also you can guide that audience towards lower stages in your funnel with the content that you provide, which is where top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel content come into play. So I guess including that type of content in your strategy also is something to keep in mind.
Awesome. Yeah, I follow a couple realtors and like property, like apartment locators and stuff. And I don't know if you already do this, B, but like collaboration posts are pretty effective at like getting more views of like different posts. So if you're able to collaborate with like local realtors or locators, that might help drive more traffic to your posts. And then also like just like making creative content about the property, like showing the amenities or like the local areas. Like, I mean, I'm sure you already know this and you're probably doing this already, but making just quality content and reels about the property itself, I think could be a good place to start.
And looking at data as well. Look at what worked in the past and what didn't, and figure out how you can do more of what worked and change the format of what didn't to make it work.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think we're pretty much at time. So I just want to, thank the speakers again, and as well as everyone who attended the event. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to be here. Should any other questions come up in the future, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'd love to connect on social media with you guys. We're on, all the platforms on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And then also, if you'd like to learn more about digital marketing or get a free social media audit, Rebecca would be your go-to person for that. We're more than happy to put together a free audit for your business. And those are super educational. I highly recommend doing one. And then, I'll watch out for a follow-up email. I'll send it to everybody that was here today, and we'll have a recording as well as the presentation deck. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll talk to you later.